Bože, je tako star ob samolotom. I'm so tired of airplanes. What day is it today? 2nd of August? 2 августа? Что значит? Какой день сегодня? Конечно, День ВДВ!
Крутые парни по всей стране, кто связан дружбой с ВДВ. Такое братство, надежный щит, никто Россию не победит. ВДВ, с неба привет, ультрамариновый набок-берет. Денег с волной и море погон, с неба навеки десант обручен. ВДВ, сколько побед, из парашютов белый букет. Радугой мирной парят купола, слава десанту, честь и хвала. В Центральном парке салют в Москве, мечтают парни о ВДВ. Любым оружием владеть легко, знамя победы главней всего. ВДВ, с неба привет, ультрамариновый набок-берет. Денег с волной и море погон, с неба навеки десант обручен. ВДВ, сколько побед, из парашютов белый букет. Радугой мирной парят купола, слава десанту, честь и хвала.
Привет всем, welcome, brand new build. Already have the review out. If not, check it out if you're interested. RPG models, not a massive manufacturer, only about 1 or 2 kits out today, but I really like the look of this one. That was the main sort of thing. This is the main attraction of this build. Doing a wheeled armored vehicle should be really easy, shouldn't it be? Really straightforward build. But I'm going to give you some great tips right now just to kick off. I'm going to try and explain my mentality on how to get this kit to fit together perfectly. That's what you need to do, and that's what I'm going to try and show you. Okay, so what if, for instance, I told you this? These instructions aren't instructions to follow the letter. They're just merely a guide, actually. If we have a look at the steps, building up the chassis, etc., might be a good start. Dropping in the interior, building up the sides, then doing a bit more interior, then maybe some more details, then maybe some side parts. Is that really the best approach to this model? Let me just explain something about this kit, okay? The first thing is the shape is somewhat a little bit unusual in that, of course, it looks like a car, but also there is a rear entranceway at the back of the vehicle, as you can see in this picture down here. That creates another area that we need to deal with in terms of shape. There's many components. So this is my approach. The first thing I will do is remove a lot of the parts from the sprues. In fact, all of these. And what am I doing? If there's one thing and one term I really aspire to, it's dry fit. Dry fit is so important with models. The beauty of plastic is it's very easy as material to manage. All we need to use is sanding sticks or even files, and sometimes even the glue will help melt parts into position. So really, what have I done? Okay, I've done a little bit of chassis work, but really I've just been experimenting and trying to learn and discover how these parts fit. How do they work out? Is there anything that's going to cause a problem for me later on? I mean, as a for instance, let's say we put all the sides on the vehicle, you know, really easily, and then all of a sudden we can't fit on the hood or we can't fit on the roof. Can I be aware of that earlier on? Yes, I can, by constantly dry fitting. So I just want you to take that tip with you. Anyways, let's get on with the build. Let's fire into this one. Okay, so here we are, basically the major components fitted together. Probably see from the video, a lot of trouble with fitting the roof, continually dry fitting and then removing parts. I removed a lot of this support structure under here that was meant to interface with this bulkhead. It just simply doesn't work. But obviously I don't want to deal with the fit issues after paint. So I've got up to this stage, left off all the PE detail, all the smaller details, etc. Now it's time to paint the interior. Okay, very quickly about paint choices. I'm going to use the Mr. Surfacer Black, not only as a surfacer, but also as a paint. Basically, the only sort of differences I'm doing, I'm going to do the seats and the steering wheel in black. I'll use the surfacer as the paint. And also I'll just use this to sort of shade in the chassis type areas, but not overall. Now, in terms of the green as well, the interior, I'd supplied acrylic paint. I would use it, however, that means I need to prime the entire thing for an acrylic, so I'll put that to one side. In terms of green, I've decided to go with NATO green as the base, and they'll be adding shades, etc. But probably not on the interior, so let's just fire straight in this paint job right now. progress. You didn't get it from the clip, but basically that roof fit not so great at all. Yeah, I had to trim away all the, there's a support rib running through the back. It's meant to interlock with these pieces there, just doesn't work. Needed to file down areas, continually dry fitting exactly as I mentioned at the start, and then I needed to stitch glue it together to get it to fit. I've still got gaps, so we'll cover that. We'll just use some of the crack cream there. But basically we're now at a stage where I can add all the extra detail, and it's just a good thing that I didn't add it on at the start, because when I was manipulating the roof to get it to fit, there's no doubt I would have broken these pieces off. So now let's just get on with the rest of the build and sort of bring it up to the point where we can get on with painting. Here we are, the build's sort of done. Wow, a lot of PE. Just loads of little small bits of PE. Didn't think there was any point showing you every single part going on, but you get the idea. It's quite highly detailed. Also now, it's sort of difficult to handle as well. However, we need to go on with the painting now, the paint steps. What I've worked out is, or I hope I've worked out, is that I can fit all the glazing after I've done all the painting. That's my plan. I've test fitted in some of the glazing and it seems to work out okay. Maybe I need to sand it a little bit down a bit, but that's my plan. Then that way I can just totally avoid any of the masking. Now, what I need to do again is go back in with Mr. Servicer and just hit all of my PE details. So I won't do the whole thing black, there's no need to, but basically everything where we've got those brass parts, I'll hit with the Mr. Servicer. I'll also use it as the base color for the tires as well. And there's actually individual pieces of PE that I need to paint as well off the model. Overall, it went together okay, but this gap here, not very good. Even though we did do the dry fitting, everything, that was just the way the model is. It does look pretty good. Fortunately, there is a get out as well, in that this part here, which holds the wipers, that goes on top, so it just totally conceals that join there, fortunately. What else have I done? Okay, yeah, I substituted the PE parts with plastic card for the mud flaps. It's better just to use plastic card in that instance. Also, yeah, what's a build without a foul up? In my case, the PE shroud that goes around this sighting optic on the Canon, I basically destroyed it. I bent it wrong, whatever. So I remade it out of plastic card. That will do. So let's go on the painting steps right now. Get that servicer down on the photo etch. Okay, that's the surface of work done. That took over an hour, hour and a half. You can't capture that from the video, but basically you're constantly maneuvering the thing, trying to get the primer down in all of these little brass parts. They're three-dimensional PE, so you turn it at one angle, you see a glint of brass, turn it around. Anyways, hopefully I've caught most of it, and now we can go straight onto the NATO green, which will be the overall camouflage color for the vehicle. Okay, all good so far. The base coat is completed. That's the hard work done. Now we've got an option. We can go straight to weathering, which is perfectly fine, perfectly acceptable, or we can go a little bit artistic, and that's probably what we're going to do here. We're going to add some shading. And for the shading, we're going to use these inks from Amov MiG. I've got a dark green, except I don't think the dark greens will be dark enough, so I'm actually use night blue to shade in just certain areas. I'm going to drop down at air pressure. I'm going to use a much finer airbrush to do so. So this is just going to add that, well, they call them fake shadows. It's not fake shadows, that's bullshit. Okay, we're just going to add some tonal variety or whatever you want to call it. Modulation, all those terms, they don't mean anything to most people, okay? And why should they? I'll just tell you quite straightforward. All we're going to do is add some depth to it. We're going to add some variation in its appearance. So we're going to basically accent out darker areas of the vehicle, exaggerate them for visual interest. On top of that, we're going to go after that in with the lights. In fact, a very strong contrasting light. And the way we're going to apply that is using masks, and we're going to apply it rather subtly in just certain areas. So let's just go straight into it right now. stage is complete, let's just call it shading. Nothing else, just shading. Okay, so as you can see, a little bit artificial looking, totally artificial looking, obviously, yeah. The whole idea is to add visual interest, as we said, and it's an optional step. So now we can go on to the weathering proper. I'll put on the stickers first, and the first thing I'm going to do, weathering wise, is the wheels, which should usually be the last step, but in this case, the thing is getting so awkward to handle. Basically, I'm balancing it on top of a box because of the fenders, because of the PE, all that sort of stuff. I want to get the underneath done, weathered first, and then I'm going to do the steps. It'll just be a load easier to handle thing. Okay, so here we are, VDV, looking quite good with the wheels on. Looks a real chunky boy, doesn't it? Yeah. This MRAP vehicle looks absolutely awesome. I really like them. Anyways, got more to come next week. Going on weathering. Can even do some pimping. That's going to be interesting. Okay, so until next time, счастливо и пока. And let's hear the VDV.
лесах. Атаку вихрем ведет десант, срываясь ливнем внезапно вниз. И только ставка по жизни жизнь. ВДВ, с неба привет, ультрамариновый навык берет. Тельник с волной и море погон, с неба навеки десант обручен. ВДВ, сколько побед, из парашютов белый букет. Радугой мирный поряд купола, слава десанту, честь и хвала. ВДВ, с неба привет, ультрамариновый навык берет. Тельник с волной и море погон, с неба навеки десант обручен. ВДВ, сколько побед, из парашютов белый букет. Радугой мирный поряд купола, слава десанту, честь и хвала. Честь и хвала. Честь и хвала. Честь и хвала.